everybody. Welcome to MoneyWise Wednesday. Today we are talking about how to be prepared for natural disasters in this part of the country where we live. That equals hurricanes, right? So we're talking about hurricane prep today. June is the official kickoff to Hurricane Preparedness Month. As you can already see, there's a lot of activity going on in the tropics. And so we want to make sure that you are prepared, not just physically, but also financially. So Herschel's going to be bringing you a super cool lesson today. Before we do that, I just want to do a quick shout out to our winner. Now, if you watched our auto loan one from last week, we upped the prize because we wanted to see your first car that you ever drove. And so we have a winner, and that is Debbie Bates. Debbie, congratulations. You won a $100 gift card.
Absolutely.
25, because we were doing 25. That's crazy. You guys should go check out that post, and then you'll see some of the cars that we drove for the first time or wanted to, as well as see what Debbie's first car was too. And it was kind of fun. So y'all ready to jump in?
Let's do this. Good morning. Thank you, Kelly, for the intro. Hurricane Prep 101. This is going to be some pretty good information that we're sharing with you. Information that you're not foreign to, but we're more so wanting to impact your decisions financially as you're preparing for hurricanes and inclement weather as it approaches throughout the season. How to prepare, how to properly prepare. First and foremost, sign up for your local alerts and warnings. Monitor your local news and weather reports. Continuously do that. Prepare to evacuate by testing your emergency communication plan, learning evacuation routes, having a place to stay, and packing a go bag. That go bag is instrumental. It should be ready at all times. It's not something that you get ready. It's already prepared and ready to go. Stock emergency supplies. Protect your property from sewer and backflow valves, anchoring fuel tanks, reviewing insurance policy, and cataloging belongings. One thing that I do personally is once a year I go through my home with a video recorder, and I physically record every piece of merchandise in my home. That includes my jewelry, my valuables, weapons, anything of the such. I'll always document that, and I put a copy of that video inside my safety deposit box at my financial institution. That's just me personally. That's one thing that I take on. Collect and safeguard critical financial, medical, educational, and legal documents and records. That's birth certificates. That's social security cards. That's bank statements, anything that is paramount that will give anyone an opportunity to be you in the event they choose to through fraudulent activities, right? Only thing that we want you to do during the storm, honestly, is just survive, guys. Survive. Do everything you possibly can to survive. Following guidance from your local authorities is paramount as well. It's not the first time that first responders have been in this situation, and definitely won't be the last. Use the experience and wise ears of those that know what's best for you to do. Please follow their advice. If advised to evacuate, grab your go bag and leave immediately. So I'm going to take a quick break right here just for a second. I'm going to allow Kelly just to dive in just a few and share with you some more of how to prepare and give you some personal tips as well that she's learned along the way. Kelly, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we've been fortunate in our area that we haven't gotten hit with a lot of stuff, but it's still always good to be prepared. We have our emergency supplies. And when you're talking about emergency supplies, make sure you're looking at the dates. You look at those from time to time to make sure you're still in date. Also make sure that you have food that's easily prepared and ready to go. You know, you have it in a tote. Don't make it the food supplies that you have on a regular basis. Make it a separate supply. And it may not be your favorite things to eat, but it's going to be things that are quick and easy and full of nutrition, because that may be the only thing that you have when you're traveling. We always make sure to have a few dollars on us. We're going to go more into the financial part, but we always have a little bit of money that's set aside just in that bag so that we don't even have to think about it. It's grab it, go, and get down the road if we need to. And then following the directions, you know, we always pay attention and listen and follow the directions, because you don't want to wait till it's too late. We see that all the time on the news, people waiting or thinking that it's not going to hit. And, you know, just a couple years ago, we had some very traumatic events happen just to the west of us. And that can happen here too. It can happen to you. So just be prepared.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it. Let's advance to the next slide. Good information. Thank you for sharing that. So there are a couple of different ways for you to approach the actual storm, right? So the advisories are what comes first. Kels, I'm gonna turn this over to you just for a second and go through the next few slides just so we can make them aware of what these different announcements mean. It's so very often that we become confused whenever the news or someone makes these announcements. You get the alerts on your phone, but I'm gonna let you define just a little bit about what that looks like and what it sounds like.
Sure. I think most of you have probably experienced some sort of news or weather alert on your cell phones, right? You might be having dinner with your family or watching TV, and all of a sudden all the phones in the house are making this weird beeping noise, right? And whatever you might be watching, if you're watching local or maybe even national news, because sometimes with hurricanes especially, you know, we're not exactly sure where things are going to be coming. Thankfully, we have a couple of days kind of to plan, so we shouldn't be completely, you know, blindsided, like tornadoes, for example. But the National Weather Service is going to issue an advisory when it expects conditions to really cause significant inconveniences in pockets of communities, right? Especially those things that might be hazardous. And it's not just, hey, a hurricane's coming. A lot of us in the coastal area, there's also concerns for water rising, right? The water levels for a lot of the lakes and ponds, and even the wind and all of that off the coast, right? That's coming up on the shoreline and can cause some crazy hazardous concerns. And so if caution is used in these situations, hopefully things wouldn't be super life-threatening. So if you're as prepared as you possibly can, you kind of have it like Kelly was saying, she wouldn't have to spend time packing her bag or wondering where the medicines are. She doesn't have to frantically try to get those things ready. She's kind of already got them when those advisories come. So if we know something's coming heading straight for us, we then can begin an evacuation plan. So moving along here, you want to make sure that you're always just staying alert to what's going on. Make sure that you are opted in to get alerts on your phone. I personally look at the weather every single morning. When I wake up, it's kind of what I do, because it's really what I'm supposed to wear today. Okay, well, I'm going to dress appropriately to the weather, right? Of course, with all the weather we've been having lately, everyone could probably stay in a swimsuit and we would be fine. But if there's, you know, some hazardous or hurricane type things in the tropics, especially when we see storms are like tropical storms are brewing, we want to know, like, what are the projected paths? And if it does come towards me, what do I need to do? So stay kind of in the know. Don't panic. Don't run to the grocery store and hoard up all the toilet paper that's left, right? You're hunkering down. You just want to be prepared. So monitor those alerts. Check your emergency supplies, like Kelly said. Gather any items that you're going to need, you know, in the event that you lose power. So with a tropical storm or hurricane warning, like we said, the National Weather Service is going to issue a warning when it's expected within 36 hours. So there's a difference between a warning, a watch, and all of that, right? So during a warning, this is where you're going to want to complete your storm prep and like kind of a checklist, which we'll go through in a little bit, and we're going to point you in the right area. And first of all, a lot of this information all of this is actually from FEMA. So all this, you can go straight to FEMA.org to find out more information, as well as Red Cross and a lot of other local as well. Okay, so during a warning, you want to make sure that you're completing those preps, and then immediately leave in the event that you are within the direct path, right, or a threatened area. If local authorities or state tell you to evacuate, you need to evacuate. It's a non-negotiable. Right? So one of the things that we do this time of year, we have family a little bit further north of us. So there's already conversation going on, like, in the event of a storm, you guys are welcome to come stay with us, or can we come stay with you, you know? And in the event that that happens, and that with Michael, that was a very big possibility for us. If official authorities tell you you need to evacuate, it's very serious, okay? I'm not an expert with hurricanes, so I'm gonna trust those leaders and the resources that they have that are telling them so.
You're ready to go, all right? So it's time to plan your evacuation. You've created your family emergency contact plan, like Kelly alluded to, right? She's already been in communication with her people up in Chattanooga, like, hey, that may be a potential that you may be seeing us in the next 12 hours, right? So that's part of it. Write down any important phone numbers on your hurricane preparedness checklist so you can access them easily. That's family that you may need to check on, financial institutions that you may need to communicate with in the event that something goes haywire with you and your personal finances while you're going through this evacuation process. There's a number of things you need to be writing down, right? Your neighbor, if they happen to stay and they're going to bury in, right? Write down that number so you can check on them. But more importantly, write down the number so you can check on your property, right? That's also that piece of it as well, right? So you're ready to go. Make sure you're checking on these things. Prepare your evacuation route. Prepare your list. Let's get ready to go.
It is very important that you told them to write it down, because I know everybody has everybody's numbers in their cell phone.
Right.
But your cell phone may not work. So you may be listening to this going, oh, I don't need to do that. I got that covered. No, you do need to do it. Write it down, put it in your bag, and you're good to go.
Emergency communication. Make sure you have everything you'll need to get in touch with your family, either through cellular phones or email, like we just shared. Medical needs. Be equipped to tend to any current and unexpected needs your family may have. Me personally, I'm a T1D. What that means in the medical world is I'm a type 1 diabetic. I live on an insulin pump, so therefore I have to maintain access to my insulin at all times. Family around me, we all have specific jobs. My son is in charge of fueling up all the gas cans for the generator in the event power goes down. Right, we all have specific tasks that we do. Critical documents. Place any important documents in waterproof container to help keep them dry and easily accessible. Tools and safety items, small items like matches, flashlights, batteries. You're going to need these things, right? Food and supplies. I think Kelly hit on it as well, where she's saying, hey, you may not like what you have, but you'll have what you need. Right, so that's what we're gonna leave that with that. That means can, that means bag, that means boil, that means grill, whatever the case may be. It's almost like a long-term camping trip, so prepare for that mentally, right? Hygiene and sanitation. Practicing good hygiene can stop the spread of bacteria and infectious disease. Remember that as well, okay? Protective gear. Protect yourself by wearing warm clothes, blankets to prevent hypothermia. Don't forget, protective footwear and gloves is also important. You never know how much water you're going to be faced with. You don't know how long you're going to be out in the cold. If you are in the cold, there's a number of different things.
And then I was also thinking about those batteries that you mentioned. Like right now, you can get a really good deal, usually through Groupon or one of those saving sites, maybe even on Amazon. Get them now before the crazy happens. Because if you remember from anyone who's been involved in a hurricane here, you go online to order some batteries or a flashlight from Amazon 3 days before you know to get next day delivery. You're not going to find them. And if you are, it's going to be super duper expensive. So, go ahead. Next time you go to the grocery store, just add batteries to your list. So you have them, keep them in a safe place. So that way you can put them in your bucket if you're building a bucket, right? Or you have an area that you're keeping stuff. And then I also wanted to mention, when you're talking about family, make a note of your neighbors or your friends or your family that are elderly. And maybe just reach out, take care of your family first. You know how they say on an airplane, make sure you secure your mask before others. Take care of, make sure everything's ready, but then go knock on that neighbor's door that maybe lives alone or the elderly couple and just say, do you have a plan? Do you have family that's helping you with this? And that way on the day of, you don't have to worry about your loved ones and your friends and your neighbors.
Thank you. You always share such critical pieces at the right time. And it's always from personal experience. So that should let our members know that we're not just talking this, we're living this as well. The Amazon deliveries that you mentioned, Kelly, how many times did Amazon stop their delivery drivers from coming into the area because we were preparing for a severe hurricane? That's
right. It's not safe for them.
It's not safe for them, so they're not coming. Fuel trucks, they aren't coming. Grocery store deliveries, they aren't coming, guys. So you have to prepare in advance. I get so excited about this because it's good information that we don't often remember because we always are so reactive. We are so reactive. We're not proactive as enough, right? We're not proactive enough. And I think if we get reactive a lot more, we'll be prepared ahead of the curve and we won't have to worry about some of these challenges that we're discussing today. Take action to protect your property against wind and damage. We've said that 1,000 times. Brace yourself, now prepare for a hurricane. Let's advance. Be safe, right? Be safe. If you've evacuated the areas, wait for public officials to say when it's safe to return. As we all know, we are so tied to our homes. They're an extension of us, right? We're tied to our automobiles because they're an extension of our home, which is an extension of us. And we want to make sure that our personal property is safe. Sometimes during the storm, but we know immediately after the storm. That stuff can be replaced, that stuff can be repaired, and that's why we have insurance companies, right? Let's go ahead and advance. some of the safety tips that we do want to share with you on how to stay safe is do not wade in floodwaters, which can contain dangerous debris like broken glass, metal, dead animals, sewage, gasoline, oil, and down power lines. Power lines. Jesus Christ, can you imagine how many power lines are down from the trees and you can't see them? You don't know if they're hot. You don't know if they're not. Scary stuff, right? Do not use electrical equipment if it is wet or if you are standing in water. Steer away from it. Just like a snake, to me, every snake bites and it's poisonous until it's dead. Same thing with electrical wires. I'm serious. Same thing with electrical wires. If it's laying on the ground, it's hot to me until somebody says otherwise. Do not enter buildings until it has been inspected for damage or electrical system, gas lines, septic tanks. That stuff is so bad for you on the inside. Imagine, forgive me, on the outside, imagine what some of that stuff would do if it got on the inside, such as mold, consumption through breathing or touching and things of the sort, right? Protect your pet following a hurricane. That's also an extension of a family member for you. So let's make sure we're mindful of our little creatures as well. Stay healthy. Throw out any food, including canned items that were not maintained at a proper temp. Avoid drinking tap water until you know it is safe. And clean and disinfect anything that got wet. Mud left from flood water can contain sewage, bacteria, and chemicals. And we want you to stay healthy throughout this entire experience of riding out the storm. Kelly, if you would, Kelly IE, can you share with our viewers and our members a couple of the reasons you'd like to leave with them in the event some of the information that we've shared is not insightful enough? Let's take them to somewhere where they can read and self-educate themselves a little bit more, if you don't mind.
Sure. So like Kelly, the other Kelly mentioned earlier, all this information is from FEMA. So there's a FEMA mobile app that you can download. There's FEMA Against the Wind, protecting your home from hurricane and wind damage, and FEMA Community Hurricane Preparedness Training. That's very important. It's a lot of what we're talking about here today. And the FEMA Take Shelter from the Storm. All these, just if you go out to the FEMA website, you can see all these related topics. We also have the related websites. American Red Cross, great resource for information for the hurricane preparedness, and for afterwards. The FEMA Hurricane is ready.gov/hurricanes. There's the Flood Smart campaign at floodsmart.gov. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is, we all know as NOAA, that's a great resource for weather, for the weather information and what's happening around the world. And then Herschel.
Yeah, for our Spanish speakers, that's all right. That's quite all right. So for our Spanish speakers that also need additional support and assistance, we do have a website link there for you as well, for your language preference, if that so do you, and you will. Let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. Thank you for that, Kelly. I appreciate that. All right, I want to turn the floor over to Kelly really quick, just for a few moments. She and I, we've partnered with a couple of community partners where we exchange financial education information in correlation with storm preparedness, because we don't want this to create a financial impact on the residents of the city, right? So we went one step further, and part of that is that we have a platform that we can share some of the information, some of the tips and things that we're sharing with you today in a holistic environment. And I want to give Kelly an opportunity to just kind of take it from here and kind of steer and share with you what we were able to do in a local setting, but more so now in this type of setting. Kelly, please take it away if you don't mind.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've noticed is that, when it comes to how we're serving our members, in the community, right before, during, and after a hurricane, there are a lot of things that we see a majority of members doing well. And then there's a lot of things that we can see that they, really could save themselves a lot of financial heartache if they were preparing ahead of time. So income and lack of savings are the two major key factors in an individual or a family's, preparedness. We all know that taking time to plan and save could save you thousands of dollars. Knowing the answers to very critical questions ahead of time can keep you from that shock factor, right? And then the inability of being able to provide what's needed. And a great example would be deductibles on insurance, right? So a lot of people had to get roof repairs fence repairs, all sorts of repairs, thinking that insurance is just going to cover it. Well, your plan may require some sort of deductible to be met, very much like a medical insurance as well. So a lot of people are having to live in conditions that are not favorable because they didn't have the money to even pay the deductible to get the work fixed, right? Or get the job done, basically. And that's not good. It's not safe. It's not healthy. It could cause mold. You know, it's just, you know, we don't want to see you have to walk away from property that you own, right? Or assets that you have that have now become a major money pit for you. So we want to make sure that you are asking yourself important questions. That's why we're doing this today. Is I think we are all really good, this part of the country, of being physically prepared because it's just part of our life, especially if we grew up here. Like, we just come to know what to do in a hurricane. It is kind of almost second nature to us, which is sad, but you know, it is what it is, right? The part that we lack and that we're not good at is the financial preparedness aspect, right? So ask yourself important questions. How much cash should I have on hand? Now, again, some of these things are not black and white answers, right? It's not like this is the answer to this question. It's really more of a, what do I feel comfortable with question. Like, what is your safe zone, right? Because what Herschel may think cash he needs to have on hand may be very different than what me or Kelly may choose for our family, right? So what is that comfortable number for you? How much cash should I have on hand? What are my ATM cash withdrawal limits? This is super important because whether you bank with us or you bank elsewhere or you have multiple financial institutions, those numbers vary from financial center to center. So find out what your daily limits are from an ATM, and if you were to walk into the branch, if the branch is, you know, open for you to walk into. What are my deductibles and my insurance policies? Make note of those important account numbers or phone numbers. What is the phone number to your credit union or your bank? What is your account number? If you need to communicate those numbers with loved ones who are maybe joint on those accounts, or in the event something happens to you, that sort of stuff. Where are you storing that? How are you communicating that to them in a secure manner, of course? Making note of your insurance policy numbers, because a lot of people, they have no idea what their policy number is. I don't know my policy number by heart, but I know where it is stored in a safe place. So I can go back and reference it if needed. So when I am calling them and saying I need to make a claim or I need to whatever, they're going to say, what's your policy number? I don't know. You know, so I'm sure there are other ways you could be identified, like your social security number, but man, wouldn't it just be nice to have all that information? Consider having photocopies. Herschel mentioned this. Have photocopies of important documents or even the original stored in a safe, dry place. A safe deposit box is a great place if it's not something you need to immediately get to safely secure items. We kind of see an uptick in safe deposit boxes this time of year because of hurricane season. You can do a month to month, you know, thing. So if you're interested in that, you know, go to a financial center and find out it's a lot less expensive than you might realize. Some people think, oh, that sounds like a lot, but man, to secure super duper important things, especially if you have like jewelry or precious items to you, it's really a great place. You can put a USB flash drive, right, or a jump drive inside of that as a backup for all your important documentation. So we really hope that these things will help you consider. If you know, like, call right now and find out, in the event that something were to happen in my home due to a storm, what would my deductible be? And they may tell you. That is kind of a great place, and Herschel's going to talk about this in a minute. That might be a great place for you to figure out how to start that emergency savings fund. Maybe your savings fund, because people go, well, how much do I save? Well, how much would you need in deductibles in the event a tree fell on your house? Okay, so if $10,000 is your deductible, most people don't have $10,000 sitting around in a savings account, right? Kelly has seen she's got a mortgage background with us as far as helping people who need to find some solutions that can't pay their mortgages. And a lot of times, some of the people she's talking to are people who are thinking of letting their homes go because they couldn't pay the deductibles on a claim, right? Kelly has seen people walk away from their homes because they did not have money in savings to cover their deductibles.
Kelly, I saw a woman walk away from a home that she owed $3,000 on because she couldn't afford to make repairs. Now,
Right.
we helped her out. We got her taken care of, and we took care of our member.
But she was willing to do
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was desperate.
Yes.
Yeah. And you never know what other people are, to do. There may be
Absolutely.
someone who's not great with money going, well, Mom, you should do this, or Auntie, you should do this, or whatever. And you don't really know the source. So you got to make those decisions now. In the event that I'm forced in that kind of decision, what would I do, right? And so having the money set aside. So a lot of you though are like, there's no way I would even be able to save enough now to cover the deductible in the event a hurricane comes in July. We understand that. We know that. We're here to help you in the event something happens. But think about next year. Could you start putting something in place right now that 12 months down the road gives you a little more peace of mind for the next hurricane season? And not waiting to react to something because a lot of folks, like Herschel said, we're reactive. We're scrounging to figure out what we can do post disaster. So,
Kelly.
Heavy stuff.
Wow, man, you knocked that out. Man, you knocked that out. Listen, I'm almost at a loss of words now. She just basically just wrapped up everything here that we're going to and and I understand that it's repetitive, but it's repetitive by design. We want you to understand that some of the things that we're saying are more impactful than some of the things that you're seeing, right? So this information that we've got on the screen, this is for you to go back and read and research yourself. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. This is where the passion is coming from, right? This is letting you know that we are real human beings experiencing the same things that you are. Withdraw funds from your emergency savings account. Kelly alluded to that in the last slide. My emergency savings account is different than yours. Yours is different than mine. What it takes to me to have a comfortable living outside of my home for the period of time that I'm removed due to severe weather may differ than yours, but that doesn't mean that I didn't prepare for that in advance because I knew the comfort that I would want to obtain for myself and my family, right? Safely secure your personal and financial information. That's super important. I'm going to say number 2 again. Safely secure your personal and financial information. That's huge. One thing we want to also additionally share with you is that it's imperative that you check your credit 60 to 90 days following any severe storm, right? This is the breeding ground for thieves. They prey on those that are vulnerable during these times, for those that did not safely secure their personal and financial information, those that did not put a block on their debit card because they're traveling out of the area, those things that they put in place and measures that they put in place to protect themselves upon their return, right? Check account information via alternate channels such as online banking, mobile banking, and automated services. Write down that information. You're going to need it, right? Place notes on your financial account that you'll be traveling out of the storm area. This will help. It won't prevent it, but it'll help reduce the potential for fraudulent transactions on your account, right? It does. It does. I promise you, some of these things that we're sharing with you, I wish I could say them 1,000 times over. But again, this is for you to go back and review. We just want to remind you of some of the things that you may have forgotten, right? Let's go ahead and progress unless one of you two ladies want to add anything to those slides. So we want to just basically tell you, it's not if it happens, it's when, right? It's coming. It's yearly. We can expect it. Like Kelly said, it's second nature. It's like riding a bike. It's like cooking a meal now, right? You prepare for the storm that is coming. We ask that you do practice safety first and foremost for your own personal well-being, but also for financial health and safety as well. This is why Envision brought this to you today. I'm going to turn the floor over to Kelly for just a few seconds. And then Kelly, I need closing words, and then we're going to close this thing out, but not before we tell you just really, truly how wonderful it has been to share this information with you, knowing that we're in the midst of hurricane season, and we hope that this is valuable information for you. Kelly.
Yeah, so I wanted to share some information. For those of you who are in the Tallahassee area, we have the privilege of partnering with the City of Tallahassee Department, who facilitates workshops. Now, unfortunately, this year, because the lack of face-to-face, right, intervention was there, the city has done a wonderful job of creating webinars, and we are kind of the voice for the financial industry to remind folks about the financial preparedness aspect. And the first webinar was 2 weeks ago, and I had the privilege of speaking to citizens that joined the webinar. And just as a consumer, I learned something that was really profound that I wanted to share with you guys. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, also known as the NOAA, is where a lot of the data comes from for the projected paths, or they communicate with the local weather, sources that are talking about what's going on, with hurricane activity. And one of the things that I believe Mark Wool is his name, he's from the local office. He said that a normal hurricane season for us here is that there would be 12 named storms. So tropical storms that are named, how they have all this fun names that are, we're like, oh, the names have come out, so we know what they're going to be called, which is not fun to know, but it's kind of fun for us to know, hey, Bertha or whatever. So this year, the NOAA is predicting, so a normal named storm is 12 named per year is what it kind of an average is. This year, they are predicting 13 to 19 named storms. Gives you kind of an idea of the potential of a storm coming our way. Hurricanes, usually about 6 are kind of named that are all coming our direction, right? This year, they are predicting 6 to 10. Okay. Major hurricanes, typically there are 3 in 1 year, in 1 season. This year, they are predicting 3 to 6. If history is any indication of what the future might look like, if it really truly does repeat itself, this could be a very active hurricane season for us.
Wow.
It's even more important that you're prepared. He also mentioned something else. All category 5s that have ever hit landfall in the U.S. have all come through the Gulf. Okay, so that's alarming. And hopefully that will wake you up to go, okay, I've survived, 2 handfuls of hurricanes in my life. However, it only takes 1 to completely destroy it.
Absolutely.
We don't want your life to be destroyed. A house can be rebuilt. Those things can be redone. The importance is the safety for you, the safety for your family, and that you're prepared. So we hope that you'll enter this season in that serious mode, right? To really think about the financial impact that it could have on your family. Remember, income and lack of savings are the major reason why people in our area are not prepared. It's not a bucket full of batteries and toilet paper and food that they don't want to eat, right? That's not the reason why people cannot kind of get through a hurricane. It's the financial aspect of it. So we're really, it's very serious to us because it is our commitment to you guys as members to be that voice that reminds you to take it seriously and reminds you to plan.
Powerful stuff, Kelly. Powerful stuff. Thank you for reinforcing what all the slides, all the content, all the context has been sharing with our members and our viewers. Kelly, I'm gonna let you close this thing out, man. What words can you bring to our members and viewers about?
So mine are super simple. It's better to be prepared and not need it than need it and not be prepared.
Amen. It's true.
That's the truth. That's a powerful ending statement, guys. We can't tell you enough. We're doing this for you. We're doing this for you. Take advantage of it. The information that you're being shared with it comes by experience. It comes by us going through it with you. And we just want to be that little reminder that, hey, listen, it's coming. Let's get prepared for it. Guys, it's been a pleasure to lead this session. And Kelly, my 2 partners, I can't thank you both enough for allowing me to share my passion and this information with our viewers and our members. I look forward to seeing you all next week, same time, same place. We'll bring you another powerful topic. Thank you for joining us for MoneyWise Wednesday.
Hi, guys.
Bye.